and decided to defer, so Illinois will receive.
And right away,
Feely is kicking off.
Right away, the respect that Michigan has for the Illinois defense, deferring on the opening kickoff.
Feely with a nice leg. This is George McDonald at the 1. And he is rocked at the 18-yard line. McDonald tackled by Brian Williams. Now we get our first look at the Illinois offense. Their first start of the 1995 season. Their starting quarterback is a 6'4", 209-pound Johnny Johnson. Last year he had a streak where he threw 189 consecutive passes without an interception. High on the pass efficiency ranks. First down and 10 from the 18-yard line for Illinois. Johnson under pressure. He's got good mobility, and he uses good judgment that time, throwing the ball away, and there's a flag down. Could be grounding.
It's going to be grounding, Mark. They tried to set up a double screen. Michigan had both screen opportunities well defended. Johnny Johnson had nowhere to go with the football. He made a good decision, but nobody in the area with a blue jersey on.
And that's exactly what the call is. Jim Kemmerling, our man with the white hat today. Another look at that infraction.
See, timings are all, screens are all built on timing. It's a 1,001, 1,002 count. The linemen release and go down. That time the timing was completely disrupted because of the good defense by Michigan.
Good pressure that time coming from the senior Trent Zenkowitz. And a look now at our Chile starting lineups. Ty Douthard was the team's leading rusher a year ago with 765 yards.
Field on the offense, 5 yards, repeat, first down.
Mark, rather than calling grounding, the call was actually an ineligible receiver downfield. The same problem, setting up a screen, your linemen get a little bit impatient. They've got a built-in count in their head, and when the play was disrupted, some guys got downfield ahead of the play.
First down and 15 to go. The backs out of the offset eye. Holcomb is the deep back. Johnson hands it off to Holcomb, who's out over the 15, brought down at the 17-yard line. Good run support that time off the corner by Michigan. Steve King coming up to make the tackle that time on Holcomb. And a look at the offensive line now for Illinois.
Chris Korwitz is the starting center. He's one of the only returning starters, a guy that dropped his weight from over 300 pounds in the spring to down around 285, moving much better.
It's called eating salad, I guess, huh?
Eating low fat.
A gain of 3 on first down, setting up second down and 12. Illinois' first possession of the 1995 season. Holcomb is the lone back. They go with 3 wideouts this time, and they hand it off to Holcomb. Out over the 20 to the 22-yard line, tackled by number 81, Glenn Steele, this 271-pound sophomore. Let's set that Michigan defense for you up front. The front four did a good job last week putting pressure on Virginia's quarterback.
Yeah, Trent Zenkowitz, a big guy in there, 267 pounds, 6'6". He anchors that defensive front.
Number 37 is a guy you want to watch as well on that defense. He'll be very active throughout the course of the afternoon. Third down and 7 to go. Jason Dulick is in the slot. Johnson back to pass. This is where he can hurt you. He goes downfield. A flag down at midfield. That'll be pass interference. Marquise Mosley, number 5, was dragged down by the Michigan defensive back. And that'll be a first down for Illinois.
Mark, you hit the nail on the head when you said that's how Johnny Johnson can beat you as a quarterback. He has the ability to make plays when things break down. He has the ability to leave the pocket and beat you with both his arm and with his legs. That time he bought himself some extra time, came up with the big play downfield. Take a look at Johnson now as he goes back. He gets good pressure up the middle from Zenkowitz. He eludes that, and you see the quickness and the mobility out of the pocket. He takes a good shot, but he does the right thing. Gives his guy a chance to make a play, and the interference call down there on Woodrow Hankins gives Illinois the first down.
Marquise Mosley, number 5, was the intended receiver that time. Illinois pretty deep at the receiving corps position. First down and 10, the nose of the ball at the 37-yard line. Holcomb and Dothard working out of the eye. It's Dulick in motion. This is Holcomb out to the 40-yard line. Many of the coaches feel that that young man right there is ready to have a big breakthrough season. Let's take a look at the Michigan defensive, the linebackers. Jarrett Irons, number 37, impressive young man, Todd.
Yeah, 115 tackles a year ago, 12 tackles in the opener against Virginia. He's a very active linebacker. The defensive back, Steve King, the strong safety, a guy who has really stepped forward in training camp, a guy that's really given some leadership in that defensive backfield.
A place where they need a lot of improvement in 1995. It's 2nd down and 7 to go for Illinois. Johnson with a play action. Dumps it off complete to Dothard at the 43-yard line. He'll be about 5 yards shy of the 1st down. And John Saunders, a lot of stuff going on in the Big Ten today. What's up with Purdue?
All right, Mark, thanks a lot. We, of course, will keep you up to date on all the scores and highlights throughout the day. But you mentioned the Big Ten. Well, Purdue, a team that has struggled the last few years, gets off to a great start against West Virginia. Rick Trevsker, 18 yards to Brian Alford, makes it 10-0 at that point. They hold on to the 26-24 victory. You'll see Purdue next week against Notre Dame here on ABC at 3:30. Mark?
All right, John, you can bet that Jim Coletto is ecstatic about that victory. Really just starting to get some good recruiting classes. And Purdue, pass complete near midfield at the 48-yard line to Shane Fisher. He was covered closely by Charles Woodson, but Fisher got down on the carpet and made a nice catch.
And a nice job by Fisher knowing what he needed for the 1st down, extending that route just a little bit beyond the 1st down marker, because even though he had to come back to make the catch, he was still beyond the marker. Watch Fisher push this route. He pushes the freshman Woodson, and even though he has to come back to the football, when he hits the ground, he is still beyond the 1st down marker. That's smart heads-up play by the receiver, Fisher.
1st down and 10 to go. Ball at the 48-yard line. Backs working out of the eye. Handoff to Dothard. Dothard has about 2.5 yards. I mentioned earlier, led the team with 765 yards rushing last year. Gained a little bit of weight, too, to move over and play that fullback spot.
He's a guy that the offensive line loves to block for. He's a real blue-collar type running back, real hard-nosed guy. He's not the flashiest guy, may not break any long runs, but he's a kind of guy that's going to be dependable and a guy that's had a pretty good career here as a rusher and a receiver. Catches the ball very well coming out of the backfield as well.
Ball at the 50-yard line. 2nd down and 8. 2 tight ends set for Illinois. Holcomb the lone back. Hand it off to him. Holcomb looking for a hole over the right side. Bounces off of one would-be tackler and makes it down to the 45-yard line, leaving them about 3.5 yards shy of the 1st down. Clarence Thompson making the tackle. Some of the keys to the victories today for the respective teams, Tom.
Well, first of all, for Michigan, they've got to contain Johnny Johnson. We've already seen them make a mistake on that as he got out of the pocket. Secondly, Scott Dreisbach has got to make good decisions again. He had a couple bad ones in the game against Virginia, threw a couple interceptions. He's facing a better defense today in Illinois. For the Illini, they've got to hold up against that inside run. They've got young guys playing at the inside backer position, and they must win the special team battle. Last year, all 19 Michigan points came off the special teams.
3rd down, about 3.5 to go. Johnson with a quick 3-step drop and throws this one away. Good decision, Todd?
Yeah, good decision. He tried to go to his main receiver, Jason Dulick, on the same route they converted the 3rd down before, the little quick hitch, but Clarence Thompson was right on it, squatted on the short route. Johnson had to throw the ball away.
A lot of pressure on the Michigan secondary. Thompson and Noble on the corners today. And Illinois' Brett Larson into punt, standing on his own 43. He's a good pooch punter, but this one might make it into the end zone, and it does. So we will get our first look at the Michigan offense. Starting quarterback from Michigan was chucking and ducking last week against Virginia. A school record 52 attempts for 372 yards. 1st and 10 for Michigan at their own 20-yard line. This is Ed Davis, the starting tailback, in place of Tim Biakabatuka. He makes it out to the 23-yard line. Davis is a senior from Detroit, Michigan. Biakabatuka has an injured shoulder.
He may play today, but Fred Jackson, the offensive coordinator, said he wasn't going to start him if he wasn't 100%. Feels very good about Ed Davis, a very dependable guy who runs better on AstroTurf than he does on grass. So it's a good start for Davis.
Two tight end set for Michigan. Davis again between the tackles down to the 25-yard line, and back to John Saunders, who's got an update for us. John?
All right, Mark, thanks a lot. Florida State and Duke being played in Orlando. Danny Cannell here, 1st and 10, finds E.D. Green for the touchdown. Cannell 4 for 4 on the drive. The extra point was blocked by Ray Farmer, the 10th time he's blocked a kick in his career. 6-0, Mark.
All right, John, you know, one of the questions there, of course, is will Florida State lose an ACC conference game this year?
Danny Cannell should be having a lot of confidence coming into this season. Really finished strong in '94.
3rd and 5 for the Wolverines. Davis close to the first down, right near the 30-yard line, which is where he had to get. Dennis Stallings, the inside linebacker, making the tackle that time, the 6-foot, 222-pound junior. And it depends on the spot. Do they get it? It appears they do have the first down. Yes, it is. A look at the Chile starting lineup. Samani Toomer, the dangerous Michigan receiver, leading receiver for them last year. Mercury Hayes, of course, caught that winning touchdown pass against Virginia last week. 8:25 remaining in the first quarter. Zeros on the scoreboard. Michigan with its first possession of the afternoon. Rise back, pump fake, completes it to Remersma. Remersma, a big, strong guy, can hurt you after he makes that catch out to the 39-yard line. Look now at the big fellas up front for Michigan.
John Runyon, the left tackle. The coaches feel he's definitely an NFL prospect. At 6'8", 299 pounds, he certainly has the physical tools to play at the next level.
Maybe one of the best offensive lines in the country. 2nd down and 1 to go. 2 tight end set. They hand it off to Chris Floyd, the fullback, who has the first down. Let's take a look at that Illinois defense now. Tim McLeod up front along with Saron Brown. Brown is an interesting story, too.
Yeah, a guy that only weighs about 235 pounds, but they really feel he can rush the passer. He's a little bit light on the inside tackle, but can really get after the quarterback.
Ball at the 42-yard line, 1st down and 10. The pitch goes to Williams. This freshman is a guy that you want to see. Clarence Williams, number 33 from Detroit, Michigan, has got speed to burn. Only carried the ball once last week for a total of 3 yards, but the coaches are very high on him. We talked about Simeon Rice. Dennis Stallings is a bit of a factor today, or should be a bit of a factor.
Well, he's a new guy. This is his first start, first time playing on the inside, replacing Dana Howard, and a tough job for him to do.
Howard and Holisek, 2 great inside linebackers last year for Illinois. 2nd and 4. They hand it off again to Williams. You know, offensive coordinator Fred Jackson told us that they wanted to turn him loose a little bit this afternoon.
And it might be a good thing that Biaka Patuka can't play, because that way they can definitely get Williams into the ball game much more.
Hardy and James in on that tackle of Clarence Williams. Now look at the defensive backs, the safeties, the strong point of that secondary.
Yeah, 2 guys that have played together for 3 years as starters. They really are great in the run support. The corners cover the deep passing game. The safeties more involved underneath and stopping the run.
3rd down and 2 to go for Michigan. The nose of the ball barely on Illinois' side of the field. Ed Davis is the tailback, and he gets the carry. Don't think he made it. Simeon Rice made the initial hit, and Michigan is going to be about a yard short of the first down.
Nice play by David James, the other inside linebacker, also coming in there behind the line of scrimmage. Take a look at Simeon Rice. He has great quickness and speed. Now, he had 2 guys blocking on him. He's blocked pretty well on that play by Jeremy Tooman. Backside tight end David James, the inside linebacker, is the guy who got in there and made a play behind the line of scrimmage.
And in comes Nate DeLong to punt for Michigan. DeLong averaged 38.9 yards a punt last week on 7 punts against Virginia. Martin Jones is standing on his own 10-yard line. And we have a whistle down on the field. Too much time count violation against Michigan. You know, Michigan was the most penalized team in the Big Ten last year, and that's something that head coach Lloyd Carr definitely wants to solve in 95.
Yeah, 91 penalties on the year. They averaged 66 yards a game against them in penalties, and only 4 penalties in their game last week. 2 of those penalties in the opening drive, some illegal procedure penalties. So they've done a much better job of it so far in 95.
Lloyd Carr said it was the saddest day of his life when he took over as head coach. Penalty once again, too much time against Michigan. So DeLong will try it again. His own 35. The lefty gets off a spiral. Fair catch called at the 20. There's a fumble. Michigan has the ball. The Wolverines have the ball at the 16-yard line. It was recovered by Sanders. Ernest Sanders making the fumble recovery, and the first turnover and big break of the game going in favor of Michigan.
Well, watch Martin Jones. The punt is kind of sailing away from him. He tries to give the fair catch signal and just doesn't get completely under the football. A little bit tentative going after that football. And we talked about the need for Illinois to win the special teams battle. This is not the way you want to start early in the ball game. Give a team like Michigan the ball inside your 20-yard line on a mistake from your kicking game.
You talk about room service field position. This is it. Michigan working with a short field, setting up with a wing right formation here. Ed Davis is the tailback. This is Davis weaving and dancing his way over the 15 down to the 13-yard line, where he's tackled by Stallings.
If there was ever any question whether Michigan was going to come out and throw the ball 52 times today, this first quarter is evidence against it. They've been going with 3 tight ends a lot here and really packing everything in with 1 back and 3 tight ends and just trying to pound it at the heart of this Illinois defense.
Putting a lot of pressure on those people up the middle.
I'd keep an eye on Jay Reamersma right now, because this is a good situation to go play action and let the tight end work his way into the end zone. They've been running the ball with pretty good effectiveness so far here in the first quarter.
Toomer is split wide to the bottom of your screen. Reamersma, tight end set up to the right of the line. That's Hayes in motion. A little waggle by Dreisbach. Wide open. I mean, wide open. Touchdown, Chris Howard. Michigan is on the scoreboard.
Dreisbach completes the pass to number 8, Chris Howard.
I don't know if you can run a play any better than that.
It's perfectly well set up, and play action is only as effective as your running game is. Watch the good fake by Dreisbach. He sells it, he's patient with it, and no coverage there on Chris Howard. It doesn't come much easier than that, Mark.
Remy Hamilton in for the extra point. He missed an extra point last week against Virginia. Reamersma is the holder. Get it down, and it's good. Michigan, by virtue of the 13-yard touchdown catch by Chris Howard, taking a 7-0 lead in this Big Ten. That touchdown catch just moments ago. That fumble on the punt by Illinois setting up that easy touchdown. Jay Feely kicking it off back deep. George McDonald and Will Smith. This is McDonald 3 yards deep and thinks about it and says,
George
I don't think so.
the ball in the end zone. 1st and 10, Illinois.
And Illinois will start off on its own 20. Let's go downstairs to Dean Blevins on that fumbled punt. Dean?
Well, guys, the fumbled punt was right behind, and Martin Jones it was a difficult play. A lot of coaches say that catching a punt is the most difficult play in football. The wind, not really a factor, and the sun, I thought that might have been a factor, but it wasn't. By the way, the defensive coordinator, Greg Madison from Michigan, told his troops a few minutes ago, we will get to him, talking about getting the quarterback. They feel that's a key, and they like the defensive push they had in that first series.
All right, Dean, you know, Todd, I wanted to ask you before the game, sometimes when you have a left-footed punter, you hear people talking about the spin being awkward to catch. Don't know if there's any truth in that. Johnson under pressure again. And Johnson making something out of nothing out to the 23-yard line. Gain of about 3, setting up 2nd and 7. Another look at that last touchdown.
And watch the left side of your screen. Antoine Patton, number 8, the free safety. He's going to get caught watching the tight end crossing the field, watching Mercury Hayes. Mercury Hayes had the big game last week. Everybody's watching Hayes. Nobody finds Howard. It's an easy touchdown for the Wolverines.
Ball on the 24-yard line. 3:55 remaining in the first quarter. Holcomb and Dothard in the backfield. Little counter This is Holcomb out to the 26-yard line. It'll set up 3rd down and 4 to go. Any early thoughts so far on Illinois' play selection, Todd?
Well, I think they're mixing it up pretty decent. The problem is that this is a very physical Michigan defense. And Paul Shudell, the offensive coordinator from Illinois, he said, you know, they've always been physical. They're always quick at Michigan. The thing that I was concerned about is that this is the biggest Michigan defense I think I've ever seen. And we're seeing Michigan get good push from their front 4 people, getting penetration into the Illinois backfield. And this is a very tough, physical Michigan front 4.
Showing pass here, 3 wideouts. Fisher and Mosley to the bottom of your screen. Johnson finds his man, but it's short of the 1st down. The pass complete to Jason Dulick, their leading receiver from a year ago, but he was tackled nicely by Clarence Thompson, and once again, Illinois will have to punt.
And it was good pressure again, good inside pressure by the Michigan rush. It forced Johnny Johnson to kind of retreat and throw that off his back foot. Was not a real good throw for the 1st down.
Larson standing on his own 15-yard line, back deep. Mercury Hayes at his own 30. And he calls for the fair catch. Michigan with decent field position, leading 7-0. We'll be right back. To recap once again, Michigan leading 7-0. A fumble on a punt by Illinois setting up that touchdown. We have yet to see Tim Biakabatuka from Michigan today. Illinois' defense on the field once again. Drives back, hands it off. Howard. And Howard has about 4 yards out to the 41-yard line. Tackle made by Tim McLeod.
It's Denny Marston, the defensive coordinator for Illinois. Illinois, the best defense in the Big Ten. Total yardage, scoring defense a year ago. He's got great people in there. It's kind of a different defense, very specific. 11 specific positions. There's no flopping around. One guy can play on the left side and the right side. It's all tailor-made to specific positions.
Got Michigan going with a 2 tight end set. The toss sweep to Howard once again, who stopped up right near the line of scrimmage. John Saunders, what's up with Bruce Snyder and those Sun Devils?
Well, Mark, they're off to a pretty good start against Washington on the 12-yard line. Jake Plummer, who had a good drive here to Keith Poole in the corner of the end zone. 7-0 Arizona State with the lead over number 22 Washington. Mark.
All right, John, a little bit of pressure on Bruce Snyder this year to move that program up just a notch.
But he's got a good quarterback in Jake the Snake. I mean, that guy can make some plays down there for Arizona State.
Nose of the ball on the 42-yard line. 1:13 to play in the 1st quarter. Michigan up by a touchdown. 3rd down and 5. Drives back under pressure. Hello, Simeon Rice. You knew it would happen sooner or later. This time it was sooner.
We talked about Dreisbach having to make good decisions. This is a decision. On one hand, it was good in not throwing the ball carelessly, but this just took too much time. Pretty good pass protection on Simeon Rice. You can't hold the ball that long with a guy that's that good of a pass rusher. Runyon did a pretty good job initially, but if you give Rice that much time, he's going to find your quarterback.
Yeah, the S on his chest isn't Simeon. It could be Superman. Heisman voters, get your pens ready. Nate DeLong punting, gets off a great punt. A high spiral driving Jones back to the 18. And Jones with a nice return out to the 38-yard line, where he's tackled by Steve King. So that time, Jones hangs on. ABC Sports College Football brought to you by Red Dog Beer. Bold yet smooth, unusually easy to drink. You are your own dog.
Much better job by Martin Jones that time, finding the football on the punt, getting squarely under it, and then not only catching it, but making a pretty nice return out beyond the 35-yard line. Good field position now for the Illini offense.
All right, Mosley and McDonald split to the bottom of your screen. Dulick to the top. 3 wideouts. There's Johnson. Lots of time. Finds Holcomb at the 40-yard line, and he is rocked at the 40 by number 44, Rob Sweat. That'll set up about a 2nd and 5 situation for Illinois. Fighting Illini with their last play of the 1st quarter. So in a breezy and warm 2nd and 7, for Illinois. A 3 wide receiver set: Mosley, McDonald, who's the speed burner, and Martin Jones.
Johnson checking the play at the line of scrimmage. A lot of check with me in this offense.
The toss on the option to Holcomb, and Holcomb is about 2 yards shy of the first down. Some tough running that time by Holcomb, tackled by Steve King. Texas A&M yet to score against LSU. And surprise, surprise, Northwestern.
Down and 2, ball at the Illini 45.
It's 3rd down and short for Illinois. The toss to the short side of the field. Holcomb has the first down with about 1 yard to spare.
Nice job by Johnny Johnson getting his team up and going on the quick count. They overloaded the short side of the field. They had a wing set. They had more blockers than Michigan had defenders. And before they could react and change the defense, Johnson had them off on the snap count. Good job using the quick count to get the first down. Take a look at Holcomb now. It's a quick count. He's got to stay, make sure he catches the ball. Now he's got some nice blue shirts out there in front of him. And you can see, not only does he have the quickness, he likes to lower that shoulder and try to run through you, too. He's a tough running back, Robert Holcomb.
1st down and 10. Johnson back to pass. Under pressure now from the backside, and he throws it away. Throws it over the head of George McDonald. And he took a hit afterwards, too. Rashid Simmons lowered the boom. Well, Monday night, it's the season premiere of ABC's Monday Night Football as the Dallas Cowboys take on the New York Giants. Plus, Jeff Fahey stars as the Marshal. Action Monday starts this week on ABC. Check your local listings for the times in your area.
I think pretty soon now Illinois is going to have to try to throw the ball down the field against Michigan. The defensive backs from Michigan are really trying to squat on the short routes. They're sitting on the short routes, and Johnson is finding himself with nowhere to go with the football. If they're going to do that, you got to challenge them and try to throw it over their head.
Little counter tray, and well, you talk about counters. Jason Horn was right there. Downstairs to Dean Blevins. Dean?
Guys, I thought that was a good comment by Todd. I think you've got to have a little vertical passing game from Illinois. They're getting pressure up the middle, a lot of dump-off passes. Johnson's going to have to stay in there, and Todd, I agree, he's going to have to go up top a little.
Yeah, and if, you know, the thing they may have to do, they may have to bring another tight end in just to shore up the protection to make sure he has time. But I think they have to challenge this Michigan defensive secondary, because right now they're really squatting hard on the short underneath routes of Illinois.
Well, their speedy guy, George McDonald, is split wide to the top of your screen. Mosley is split to the bottom. It's a 3 wide receiver set, and Johnson is checking again, and now he decides to call the timeout. Part of the maturing process of Johnny Johnson. Coach Lou Tepper telling us, and Coach Paul Shadell telling us, that Johnson has really grown over the last year, emotionally as well as physically.
Well, now they're really hurt right now because Johnny Johnson thought he got a timeout called. The officials don't think he got the timeout called before the 25-second clock went off, so they tacked on 5 more yards for a delay of game. So now they've got 3rd and very long, a tough situation.
Quick reminder, tonight it's Miami against UCLA and Colorado against number 21 Wisconsin. 3rd down and 19. Johnson dropping back and back and back, and throws a bounce pass to nobody specifically.
Illinois has tried to throw 2 or 3 screens already early in this ball game, and Michigan has snuffed every one of them out. That time Zankowitz was just right in the screen area. Watch Zankowitz right in the middle of the picture, number 76. He's reading screen. Johnson's not really giving you a good pass read because he keeps drifting back. That tells the defensive lineman screen is coming. Zankowitz was there to make the play.
Larson into punt once again. This is Amani Toomer, and he calls for the fair catch at the 18-yard line. Illinois' offense had to improve coming into the season. So far, not showing signs of doing that. We'll be right back. In the first half of play, Michigan leading Illinois 7-0. And a look at Scott Dreisbach. Went from 0 to hero last week in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, and look at the 4th quarter numbers. That shows you how that kid grew up in one game. I mean, he matured about 3 games worth in that 4th quarter. 12 of 24, the 2 touchdowns. He battled back from the 2 interceptions, and that is a great start for a young quarterback to play that well in front of 100,000 people in your first game in the fourth quarter. That shows me something about Scott Dreisbach.
Lloyd Carr is to be applauded for sticking with him, too, when he could have easily given him the hook. Here's Biaka Batuka seeing his first carry of the afternoon. And he has a first down and a flag down now at the 33-yard line. Biaka Batuka checking into the game with that sore shoulder and looking good on that first run. The tackle made by Tyrone Washington. But let's check out this flag. And at halftime now, Northwestern surprising Notre Dame.
I think they got Mercury Hayes out on the outside trying to block for Biaka Batuka. They got him for a holding penalty on one of the defensive backs. And when I talked to Fred Jackson, I was down the field before the game, he said, we're going to try to play this game without Biaka Batuka. If we can win this game without playing him, we're going to give him a rest. But he must feel at this point in the game that they better get Timmy in the ball game. He looked pretty good on that first carry. There's Fred Jackson, the guy in the middle with the hat and the headphones on. Right there up in the booth, the offensive coordinator. The first time that Michigan has had an offensive coordinator designated. When Gary Moeller was the coach, he was the coordinator. Before that, Bo Schembechler was the offensive coordinator. So Fred Jackson inherits a new position as well this year.
Big change at Michigan for Michigan. Biaka Batuka again over the left side, loses his balance, tripped up actually, and makes it down to the 23-yard line. Biaka Batuka, a junior out of Longueuil, Quebec. La Belle Provence, as they say up in Canada.
He bruised his shoulder last week. Actually did it in the second play of the game. He stayed in and tried to play a little bit more, but it was just very bothersome for him, and actually injured his shoulder in a very similar way to the way Tyrone Wheatley did a year ago. So tough first games for Michigan tailbacks.
And here he is again, getting a lot of work. Biaka Batuka, you can see that he has a lot more explosiveness than Eddie Davis running to the outside. He was tackled that time by Kevin Hardy, number 51.
Kevin Hardy is a great all-around linebacker. He can drop in coverage. He can play tough against the run. That time he was going one-on-one against Big Jay Reamersma, the tight end of Michigan. He held his own. He kept good leverage and made the tackle on the sideline.
Hardy is a guy, to get back to him, many people feel that he might be of equal ability.
Well, he's more versatile. I mean, he's a guy that could play every down in the NFL, whereas Simeon Rice, he's a guy that's more going to be a pass rush specialist. Hardy is all-around talent.
Third down and 3 for the Wolverines. Drives back to pass. Overthrows Hayes, but there's a flag down. The back judge threw a late flag in the area of Mercury Hayes. Look at our white cap this afternoon. And it's against Michigan.
I was going to say, it looked like pretty good coverage on the outside. The ball was way up for Mercury Hayes. He would have had to have about a 60-inch vertical jump to bring that one down. Take a look now. Here's a little contact right there, but as long as the ball is not in the air, you can make contact as a defensive back. The ball way over the head of Mercury Hayes. No call on the interference.
On the offense, 50 yards. Repeat, third down.
Actually, they got Mercury Hayes for initiating that contact down the field. The ball was not thrown at that point.
So they will march it back. Hayes last week, 7 receptions, total of 179 yards. The ball pushed all the way back to the 13-yard line. Penalties, again, the bane of Michigan. Setting up third down and 16. And this is Rice time. Passing situation. Simeon Rice will be freed up to do his thing.
And the thing that you want to do if you're Scott Dreisbach is, first of all, when you come out, find out where Rice is. Secondly, know who is supposed to block him on this play.
They hand it off. And Biaka Batuka is brought down by David James after a gain of about 2. So Michigan will have to punt with 11:15 remaining in the first half.
That was a great defensive series by Illinois. They needed a big stop. They needed to make some negative yardage plays for their offense. Right now, Illinois should get the ball inside of the 50-yard line. That was a huge defensive series for the Illini.
DeLong standing on his own goal line in the shadows of his own goalpost. Martin Jones is on his own 49. Jones will get a chance to return this one. Nice move, and he's rocked at the 46-yard line. But as we intimated, Illinois with good field position. Showdown. Check the local listings for the game in your area. Call the local cable operator where the pay-per-view games are available. First and 10, flags down all over the rug. And let's sort out this infraction first.
Movement on both sides of the ball. There's a new rule in college football that is similar to what they put in the NFL, that a defensive lineman cannot come across the line in a way of trying to draw a guy on offense off. So this will be an interesting call, whether they think the movement by the defensive man occurred first, whether it was intended to bring him off sides. No, the penalty is going to go against Illinois. Illegal motion.
We saw a quick peek at some of the rule changes. One of them dealing with
That ball, simulate distance, yards, 3 seconds, 42.
See, that's not the kind of start on a drive that offensive coordinator Paul Shudell wants to see from this offense. They get the ball inside of the 50-yard line, and they don't even get the ball snapped on the first play, and they've got a 5-yard penalty. So it's you've got to take advantage when you get good field position against a good football team like Michigan. You got to strike quickly, and you got to move the ball forward. You can't hurt yourself with mental mistakes. And anytime a guy leaves before the snap count or illegal motion, those are mental mistakes, not physical mistakes.
Yeah, Todd, Shudell brought in here with a distinctive mandate to spice up the offense. The offense on 1st and 15, running over the left side with Robert Holcomb, gaining about 2 yards. There's the man that believes you win with technique. He's a hands-on coach as well.
Coaches the offensive line, very involved there. He was a head coach at Ball State for 10 years before coming here, and was an assistant for a long time at Michigan, offensive line coach. So a lot of familiarity with the Michigan program, the way they do things, and really still has aspirations of being a head coach, but good friends with Lou Tepper and likes his job right now as the offensive coordinator.
2nd down and 16. Johnson to pass. Picked off. Copenhaver. And there's a flag down, but Michigan with another big play. Johnny Johnson picked off, but there's a flag down at the 41-yard line. Let's see if this will stand or not. It's against Illinois. That's the initial indication. Another look, Todd.
Watch the right side of your screen. Johnny Johnson is going to try to get the ball downfield, and he's locked onto a receiver, and he's thrown it there no matter what. He didn't see the inside linebacker coming in there to make the play. Copenhaver, he was out of the field of vision of the quarterback, Johnny Johnson. He was locked into going down that seam route to his tight end, and a nice play catching the ball with his hands by Clint Copenhaver.
Johnson has not seemed that assertive yet.
No. He hasn't had his feet up under him very well so far in this early part of the game. He looks like the rush and the pressure that Michigan has been able to put on him has got him a little bit affected right now. He's got a little happy feet, and he hasn't really stayed right in the pocket and thrown the ball with some authority.
Michigan with the ball on Illinois' 46-yard line. This is Chris Howard. Down to the 43. It'll set up 2nd down and about 7 to go. Coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report, John Saunders with scores and highlights from all of today's action. Plus, Lynn Swan has an exclusive interview with former Alabama star Antonio Langham about the NCAA violations which helped land the University of Alabama on probation. John has the reaction of Alabama's head coach, Gene Stallings. Here's Howard trying it around the right side, brought down by Simeon Rice.
And that is vintage Simeon Rice right there, Mark. I mean, you don't expect a guy who's that big to be able to run that fast, but 4.5 speed. He read the play. He ran straight down the line of scrimmage. Now watch, he's a little late getting set up. He gets off his block. Now watch him run straight down the line of scrimmage, and the long arms, the long reach, he's able to grab the guy by the back of the shirt. That is, you can't teach a guy to make a play like that, Mark. He just does it by instinct and athletic ability.
Has got the wingspan of a 747. Clarence Williams now in at tailback, a 3-wide receiver set for the Wolverines.
Throwback.
Drives back, has Williams, and he has got a wave of blockers ahead of him. And tons of real estate. Williams down to the 23-yard line. The freshman out of Detroit showing his skills. The tackle made by Antoine Patton.
We've seen 2 throwback plays, and the reason that they work against a team like Illinois is because their defense is so aggressive. Take a look as this play starts again now. Watch the action all go to the left. The Illinois defense is following the quarterback. Pretty soon, nobody remembers where Clarence Williams is, and it's all white jerseys out there. That's an escort service out there for the tailback, Clarence Williams. But you take advantage of an aggressive defense, them pursuing the football and not playing the backside.
Williams brought down that time by Dennis Stallings. And we have another score, and John Saunders will tell us about it back in New York. John?
Well, Mark, Arizona State had opened up a big lead against Washington, but Damon Heward hits Andre Dissacheur here. He looks like he might go in, but he fumbles the ball. Dave Janowski picks it up, and then look at the poor tackling by the Sun Devils in for the touchdown. And right now, Arizona State still has the lead, but it's now just 14-9. Also, Rock Preston, 85-yard touchdown run. Florida State leads Duke by 20.
Florida State in the minds of many, the #1 team in the nation right now. This is Floyd on the carry. There's a fumble.
I think Riemersmer got it back for Michigan, but that was the kind of play that Illinois needed down there in the 20-yard line area. Good tackle. I think Kevin Hardy ripped the ball out, but Riemersmer very alert, falling on the football there.
Michigan with the bounces going its way so far this afternoon.
Big win for Georgia today. Everybody thought that when Eric Zier left that Georgia would kind of fall off, but they'll probably go back to being a good running football team again like they always were. That's Ray Goff's style, to run the football, and Eric Zier doing very well for the Cleveland Browns right now, but Georgia should be back up near the top, I think, in the SEC again.
All right, Bianca Batuka and Floyd in backfield. But drives back, wants to pass, but Simeon Rice says, I don't think so.
Mark, one of the things I noticed about Simeon Rice watching him in practice was how strong his hands are. This is a perfect example of the strength in his hands. Now watch as he beats his man coming on the pass rush. There's 2 guys. That's a tight end and Runyon. Both are responsible. But you see when he gets his hands on him, he doesn't let go. He's able to maintain a grasp and pull the quarterback down. Just snatches him down to the ground. That's great hand strength by Simeon Rice.
He told me earlier this week he was working on a new package for Michigan, and we saw it right there. Remy Hamilton in to attempt the field goal from 49 yards out. Got enough leg, and it's good. Hamilton splitting the uprights, putting Michigan up by 10 points. He struggled all during warm-up and last week, but Hamilton scores, and Michigan leads 10-0.
To try to get back to thinking good things, went back and watched some films of the way he was kicking last year, and I think got some more positive input mentally into how he kicks the football.
It's like a golf swing, isn't it?
It very much is.
If it has anything to do with golf, I don't want any part of it. This is McDonald. McDonald out over the 27-yard line. And Northwestern leading Notre Dame by a point. We have Notre Dame next week on ABC. And we have Purdue against Notre Dame.
That's a big win for Purdue. I'll tell you what, it's not easy to go into Morgantown and win. That is a difficult place to play for an opposing team. An impressive win for the Boilermakers.
That's out of the eye. First down and 10. Time for Johnny Johnson to get with the program and move this team. Holcomb Out over the 30, down to the 32-yard line. Pressure on the offensive coordinator now. And Dean Blevins, you have a little perspective on Paul Shudell.
Well, I was on the sideline. We moved over to the Illinois sideline, and I heard him talking to his offensive lineman, and he said, guys, we cannot wait any longer. Not another series. Something must be established right now. And in fact, they didn't even huddle. They went straight to the ball. And so I think he's exactly right. 10 zip down with 5:35. You've got to get a little momentum right now.
Shudell promised that his team would have a lot more balance this year. The offense would be more balanced. Here's Johnson on the play fake. Downfield wide open to the tight end, number 86, Matt Cushing, for an Illinois first down.
And by far the best throw that Johnny Johnson has made today. He really did a nice job squaring his shoulders, setting his feet, and stepping right into that throw. Now, he had some time. He had a clear vision because of the bootleg, but that was a great throw and should be a confidence booster for Johnny Johnson.
Matt Cushing, a 6'4" sophomore, regarded more as a tough blocker as opposed to a receiver, but that time ran a nice route and got open. Couple of touchdown receptions last year. Douthert and Holcomb in the backfield out of the eye. Holcomb slipping through the initial wave of tacklers over midfield down to the 48-yard line. Nice gain for Illinois. Tomorrow night on ABC. Folks, you're the stars of America's Funniest Home Videos. And Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher are the stars of Lois and Clark. And Virginia Madsen stars in a story of real-life fatal attraction. A murderous affair, the Carolyn Warma story. All tomorrow night right here on ABC. 4:40 remaining in the first half. 2nd and 3. Holcomb, first down. Illinois starting to get some semblance of offensive rhythm now.
Yeah, pretty good running by Holcomb in there between the guards, running behind his big center, Chris Korwitz. And Korwitz is the second year as the starting center. We mentioned that he came in a little bit lighter this summer. He stayed here this summer to work out. The first time that he ever stayed here over the summer, and really got himself in good shape. And he's an anchor in that offensive line for Paul Shudell.
4:22 remaining in the first half. Running between the tackles again. That time not much happening for Holcomb. And we were talking about Simeon Rice, and what he did this summer was take a lot of younger players under his wing. Holcomb, number 35, was one of the 7 players that worked out regularly with Simeon Rice.
They said nobody's going to outwork Simeon Rice. They said he works about 4 hours a day, and took a couple redshirt freshmen, some younger guys, and turned them into guys that were non-entities before the season started into real factors as players and backups.
Here's Holcomb, one of the beneficiaries of working out with Rice, down to the 36-yard line. He'll be about 2 yards shy of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and 2. Steve King making the tackle from his strong safety position on the run support.
Well, that play looked like it had better things happening, too. Ryan Shaw was out there leading the play, and if Ryan Shaw could have just got one block on Stephen King, this might have gone to the end zone. Watch from behind the play as Holcomb turns the corner. He's got 2 blockers now. Ryan Shaw just ran right by Stephen King, or that guy still would be running.
Holcomb with some tough running, short of the first down by about a yard. Holcomb couldn't make it happening. Now, decision time. 10-0. 3:04 remaining in the first half. Todd?
You've got a great defense. If you're Lou Tepper and you believe in your defense, then you go for this on 4th down. You don't try to kick a field goal. You don't do anything else. You bring another tight end in, what they're doing, LaShawn Ludington, and you pound it at him and try to make the first down.
Into the game as well with Ludington comes Will Smith, number 2. Holcomb comes limping off the field, favoring his right leg.
Yeah, Holcomb's out, as is Ty Douther. So Will Smith, first carry might be his biggest carry of the season.
That's not the Will Smith you might be thinking of. The Fresh Prince of Champaign doesn't get the first down. The Michigan defense responds. William Carr making the initial stop.
Well, that's awful tough to ask this young tailback, Will Smith, a freshman, to come in and make it on 4th and 1. He's the smallest of all the backs they have. And great penetration by Will Carr stopped that play from the very beginning. He got in there, made contact behind the line of scrimmage. A great play by William Carr. And he's a guy that Greg Madison said, here's a guy who we always knew he could run, we always knew he could play. Talking about Will Carr, he made a real commitment to keeping his weight down this year. He's got it under control. He's moving better, and he's listed as a backup, but playing as much as any of the starters up there. Nice play.
And making a big one right there with 2:29 remaining in the first half. Ed Davis is the tailback. This is Davis, tripped up at the 33-yard line by Simeon Rice. 4.5 speed, At 6'5" and 250.
Plays with great leverage. He's got great body angle, body lean. He's the great upfield rusher. I mean, that was what he always could do well, but as he's grown and matured here at Illinois, he's gotten better at playing against the run, and that's what we saw right there. Playing against the run, holding his own, making a good play.
And we were thinking about some of the great pass rushers in college football and
That was a month from me.
Hey, Dean, I'm going to contest that 4.55 foot speed. I've seen you.
Hey.
The only time I've seen you run fast is when it's time to pick up a check.
That was allegedly back in the prime, if there ever was one, by the way.
And I got some calipers up here for that body fat count, too.
Data unavailable.
Simeon Rice needs just 3 sacks to set a Big Ten conference record. Real sociable, gregarious type, too. Said it was a real struggle to decide what he was going to do with his future. Took it right up to the midnight hour before he made that final decision to come back to school.
You really got to respect the guy. I mean, he listened to the advice of his parents. His mother wanted him to stay in school and finish up his degree, and he knew that he could have gone in the first round and made the decision to come back. And class kid.
Denny Marson's happy about it. Incomplete, intended for Mercury Hayes on 2nd and 10 for Michigan. Tyrone Washington making the play. Well, at the conclusion of today's game, we'll be selecting a genuine Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game from each team. To date, Chevrolet has contributed almost $5.5 million to the scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities. Look at Scott Dreisbach's numbers this afternoon. Just 3 of 4 as compared to 52 passes a week ago. 2:11 remaining in the first half. Michigan up 10-0. Wolverines are 2-6 on 3rd down conversions. Complete to Hayes, and Hayes will not make the first down marker. He's pushed out of bounds at the 42-yard line nicely by Kevin Hardy, a guy who, as you mentioned, Todd, is a good drop linebacker.
Yeah, he's a good guy dropping into coverage. Take a look at Simeon Rice. What respect they have. Comes off the ball, Remersmer hits him. All right, then a back hits him. Then there's a tackle and a running back just in case he gets by him. 4 guys paying attention to Simeon Rice on that particular pass play.
Well, they're giving Dreisbach more protection than the Pope. DeLong into punt on the 30-yard line. It's off a high spiraling punt. Jones making this thing an adventure. Fielding it at the 23-yard line.
You know, we were down on the field yesterday when they were going through their walkthrough, and it doesn't look windy when you look at some of the flags or the trees around the stadium, but down on the actual field, it's very windy. And I think right now, Martin Jones having a little bit of trouble judging that punted football.
Yeah, that's a good point. The flags may not indicate much of a wind, but believe us, it does swirl down there just a little bit. Absolutely beautiful day for a football game here in Champaign, Illinois. 82 degrees. 1:56 remaining in the first half. Johnny Johnson's going to pass on first down. Has a receiver open. That's Shane Fisher, complete. Out of bounds at the 49-yard line. The clock stops as they move the chains. It would be paramount for them to get a score before the half ends.
And you see, Mark, the vertical pass. They got behind the initial part of the Michigan defense. Watch the corner route by Fisher. He runs past the corner. Now he's working against the safety, and it's a good throw by Johnson. Out and away from the safety who's coming over to make the play. Good throw by Johnny Johnson. His last 2 throws have been his best.
Now, Todd, Illinois with those tall receivers, 6'5" and 6'3", Dulick and Fisher. Quarterbacks for Michigan a little smaller. Here's Johnson to pass again, incomplete for his tight end, Matt Cushing, who has 1 reception already this afternoon. Stops the clock with 1:47 to play in the half. Just a reminder, some of the games coming up on the second half of our doubleheader here on ABC. Miami taking on UCLA, and Colorado taking on Wisconsin. That's 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 Central. Don't forget to call your cable operator for the pay-per-view games available in your area. Sharman Shah, formerly Sharman Shah, now Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of UCLA, a talented runner for the Bruins. Flag down in the backfield, incomplete. Johnson, not sure who he was trying to get the ball to. We may have holding.
Yeah. Michigan jumped into a real pressure defense that time and really was going to try to come after Johnny Johnson, kind of the 8-man front of the Bear defense where they covered both guards in the center and really put pressure, the holding call up front on one of those young linemen. Take a look now. You see both guys covered. Here's Will Carr coming in. Zankowitz is coming in. They could have called holding on 2 or 3 guys in there. It might have been Will Carr. Whenever you see a defensive lineman look like he has a clean shot and then go to the ground, that's when you get a holding call.
Repeat.
Never have I heard 70,000 people be so silent. The silence is deafening here.
Well, if you're Lloyd Carr in Michigan, everything is going exactly the way you want right now. One of the things you do, you want to take the crowd out of the ball game. You do that by executing, by denying them points in the end zone and keeping the ball out of your own territory.
They're going to run it here. Dothard tries the left side, and he's brought down after a gain of about 2 yards, and now a smattering of boos coming from those 70,000 people I mentioned. Steele making the tackle. Surprised at that call, Tom?
Well, not really. I mean, you still don't want to abandon your game plan. You want to stay within the framework of what you're trying to do offensively and keep some balance. But, you know, when you get the negative plays, you get 2nd down and 17, 2nd down and 20, it's tough to call anything. I mean, we could, you know, who can call a good play on 2nd and 20?
Yep. And it's 3rd and 20. Johnson dropping back, another flag down. Still under pressure, throws it up. That's as ugly a sequence as you're going to see, folks.
Brent Taylor got called for holding on Zankowitz that time. Zankowitz was getting good inside pressure, and 2 consecutive plays, a holding penalty called. 2 consecutive pass plays for Illinois.
Holding on the offense. Decline. 4th down.
You'd probably have to agree, Todd, that the battle in the trenches right now is being won, and decidedly so, by the Michigan front 4. And you know, we knew coming into the game that the offensive line for Illinois was a big question mark.
Yeah, they were young. They had some inexperienced guys. And we also mentioned the big and the physical nature of this Michigan defense. And Paul Shadell's worst fears right now are coming through. They're being overpowered up front.
Here's Hayes calling for the fair catch at the 17-yard line with 49 seconds remaining in the first half. Michigan leading 10-0. And a chance here to maybe tack some more points on the board. A 45-yard punt and nothing on the return. Michigan has defeated Illinois 4 consecutive times here in Champaign. First down and 10, the ball at the 17-yard line. Floyd on the carry, down to the 20. It has not been a productive afternoon for the Illini. For Lloyd Carr and his Michigan troops, they'll take a 10-point lead going into the locker room.
Yeah, he's got to be happy with what he's gotten out of his team. Chris Dreisbach has made good decisions. He's run the team pretty well. They've been able to play without Biaka Batuka for the most part and still be able to maintain a lead. And defensively, the front 4 of Michigan has really played well. But if you're Lou Tepper, you go in and say, hey, guys, we're only down 10 points. It's not like we're out of this football game by any means.
Dreisbach takes a knee, and that'll be the last play of the first half. Sometimes teams take on the personality of their coaches, and Lloyd Carr was very loosey-goosey and relaxed yesterday. And Michigan is playing exactly that way. The Wolverines lead 10-0. Coming up, Prudential Halftime Report, John Saunders with scores and highlights and an exclusive interview. This second half of play, Brett Schuplein will kick to Clarence Williams and Mercury Hayes.
Kicking off for the Illini.
Michigan going for its 5th consecutive victory here in Champaign. This is Hayes, and he'll take a knee, and they'll start on the 20-yard line. Todd, let's look back at some of the keys to this game.
Yeah, looking back on them, first of all, they had to contain Johnny Johnson. Pretty average numbers there. 6 of 12, only 50 yards. Hasn't hurt him scrambling out of the pocket. They've got good pressure up front on him, and they've kept that pressure on him through the first half. Scott Dreisbach hasn't had to do too much. Good decisions, 4 out of 5. Didn't throw it into coverage. Took a couple sacks instead of throwing the ball downfield hastily. Pretty good half by Scott Dreisbach.
Yeah, 5 attempts in comparison to 52 all of last week. Biaka Batuka is the lone back. Play fake. Dreisbach has Hayes open. Mercury Hayes. Still not down.
He's out of bounds.
But he's out of bounds at the 34. The official whistling it back to the 34-yard line. Luckily so for Illinois.
The thing that turned the game around last week against Virginia was the 2 deep passes that Dreisbach threw. He hit Toomer with one, he hit Hayes with one. You can see the kid has a good arm and a nice touch on the deep ball. Watch him, play action. They ran the ball most of the first half. They come out, play action, and go deep right away. Cover 2. The safety was out of position. Antoine Patton was concerned with the inside receiver. Hayes was out alone on the sideline, ran by Dwayne Lyle, and a big play to start the second half for the Wolverines.
Boy, that was really close when he was tiptoeing down the sidelines, too. A 46-yard gain by the Wolverines. Striking quickly, a waggle now, and the throwback. Again, wide open. Riemersma, complete, Toomer at the 5. Todd, that's a play. Lead 10-0. Coming up, Prudential halftime report. John Saunders with scores and highlights and an exclusive interview. This second half of play, Brett Schuklein will kick to Clarence Williams and Mercury Hayes.
Kicking off for the Illini.
Michigan going for its 5th consecutive victory here in Champaign. This is Hayes, and he'll take a knee, and they'll start on the 20-yard line. Todd, let's look back at some of the keys to this game.
Yeah, looking back on them, first of all, they had to contain Johnny Johnson. Pretty average numbers there, 6 of 12, only 50 yards. Hasn't hurt him scrambling out of the pocket. They've got good pressure up front on him, and they've kept that pressure on him through the first half. Scott Dreisbach hasn't had to do too much. Good decisions, 4 out of 5, didn't throw it into coverage, took a couple sacks instead of throwing the ball downfield hastily. Pretty good half by Scott Dreisbach.
Yeah, 5 attempts in comparison to 52 all of last week. Bianca Batuka is the lone back. Play fake. Dreisbach has Hayes open. Mercury Hayes. Still not down.
He's out of bounds.
But he's out of bounds at the 34. The official whistling it back to the 34-yard line. Luckily so for Illinois.
The thing that turned the game around last week against Virginia was the 2 deep passes that Dreisbach threw. He hit Toomer with one, he hit Hayes with one. You can see the kid has a good arm and a nice touch on the deep ball. Watch him, play action. They ran the ball most of the first half. They come out, play action, and go deep right away. Cover 2. The safety was out of position. Antoine Patton was concerned with the inside receiver. Hayes was out alone on the sideline, ran by Dwayne Lyle, and a big play to start the second half for the Wolverines.
Boy, that was really close when he was tiptoeing down the sidelines, too. A 46-yard gain by the Wolverines. Striking quickly, a waggle now, and the throwback. Again, wide open. Riemersma, complete, Toomer at the 5. Todd, that's a play we've seen called a few times today now.
You're taking advantage of the aggressive defense. We've seen it thrown back to the tight end. We've seen it thrown back to the tailback or a touchdown in the end zone. Now we see a throw back to the wide receiver. Watch the aggressive defense. Watch all the blue shirts go one way. Watch as they roll with the quarterback. Nobody is picking up Amani Toomer. You say, how can you leave Toomer open? Well, you're paying attention to the movement of the offense. You're following the flow of the offense, and that was a perfect throw by Scott Dreisbach all the way back across the field.
You have to love the way he's spreading it around, and now they run it. Bianca Batuka's in the house. Touchdown, Wolverines. The silence even more deafening than it was earlier here at Memorial Stadium. The Wolverines are pitching a shutout. And if Bianca Batuka is hurting, I don't want to see him when he's healthy. 2 quick strikes, 49 yards and 29 yards, setting up that run by Bianca Batuka. And Remy Hamilton attempting the extra point. It took them less than a minute. It took them exactly 19 seconds to score. Is that a wake-up call? Oh, yeah, I think so. Big fella's doing the work up front. Will Smith at the 2. The deuce not quite on the loose yet. He's down at the 17-yard line. Nice tackle that time made by Clarence Williams.
Steve King, 27.
Steve King on the hit, too. You know, somebody hit the snooze bar for Illinois. They came out here flat for the second half.
Well, they really stung them with that first play, Mark. I mean, they were very conservative in the first half. They didn't try to throw the ball deep. In the first play, they got Mercury Hayes wide open, and that really just kind of took the life out of Illinois in that opening drive.
Holcomb and Dothert out of the eye. They fake the counter. Johnson to Dothert, complete. Pushed out of bounds at the 26-yard line. It'll be second down and 4. Look back at some of the keys.
We talked about they had to hold up against the running game. They've done that. 1.3 yards per carry. That's good inside defense by Illinois. But the difference in the game up until that last touchdown had been a breakdown in the special teams. They lost that fumbled punt. That set up the early touchdown by Michigan. Now, of course, they've tacked on another one here to give them the 17-0 lead. But special teams still playing a big part in this ballgame.
A two-wing set. And a fumble. Michigan has it. Holcomb coughed it up and put it on the ground, and the Wolverines will have the ball at the 27-yard line. Things unraveling just a touch here for Illinois. Charles Woodson recovered the loose ball.
Well, Holcomb is trying to get the extra yards. They've got a good situation with 2nd and 2. You can see it looks like he's going to be able to get the first down. As he lowers the head right there, a helmet comes in. I think it was Rob Sweat got his helmet on the football, and Charles Woodson was able to come up with it. And that's a big break for the Wolverine defense.
And now Toomer comes split to the bottom of your screen. It took them 3 plays to score last time. They hand it off to Biakabatuka, bouncing it outside. Biakabatuka down to the 11-yard line, and a first down for the Wolverines. Antoine Patton making the tackle from his free safety spot. And when your free safeties, Todd, are making a lot of tackles on the run, it's trouble. Patton's hurt too.
Mercury Hayes does a nice job blocking for his tailback. Look at that. He still is on the block on Dwayne Lyle. And when you've got wide receivers that'll block downfield and make big plays in the passing game, you've got something special.
They can ill afford, Todd, to lose Patton, who's the leader there in the secondary, along with Tyrone Washington. Patton's one of those players on the team who's in grad school, working on his master's in print advertising.
Take a look right at the end of the play. You see the strength of Biakabatuka. Right there at the end of the play, kind of got that ankle twisted up under there, and looked like he would be okay coming off the field. But as you mentioned, Mark, he's the defensive signal caller for the Illini.
Here's Biakabatuka. You know, he's explosive, and he scores again. Michigan tacks on another one. And the Wolverines are putting a big silencer on this crowd.
If there was any one particular thing that stood out about Biakabatuka last year, it was his ability to run in the red zone. Watch the double team. Remersmer gets a good block on Simeon Rice. Marinero comes around and gets a big block. And Biakabatuka, he just has a feel for how to get to the end zone when he runs the ball inside the 20-yard line.
In for the extra point, Hamilton. Biakabatuka, meanwhile, 7 rushes this afternoon, a total of 50 yards. And Todd, you'd have to agree that when he came into the game, he gave them an added spark.
Yeah.
All the way from north of the border. Hey, they got football in Quebec, folks. Third quarter, Michigan has scored 2 touchdowns in 50 seconds in this period. Feely kicking off to McDonald. This is McDonald at the 10. Out to the 26-yard line. Dean Blevins has a little more insight on Denny Marson of Illinois. Dean?
Well, guys, you know, we were with him yesterday, and I talked to him before the game, and Marson's a very affable type guy, but he was pretty serious a moment ago visiting with his guys. He was saying that all it is a bootleg throwback. That was before the previous series where Michigan scored in 2 plays. The players were all upset, saying 3 plays, no excuses. Then Michigan scores in 2. The good news is Antoine Patton only has calf cramps, and he will return.
Yeah, it's pretty warm down there. Thanks a lot, Dean. Over 80 degrees. Will Smith is the lone back. Johnny Johnson still in at quarterback. Throws the quick 3-step drop complete to number 81, LaShawn Ludington. Gain of about 5 yards on the play. Keep in mind that last year in this game, it was Scott Weaver of Illinois that came in relief from Johnny Johnson. It was 16 of 24 for a couple of touchdowns. But JJ is still the man right now with 14 minutes remaining in this period. His team trailing 24-0. Nose of the ball in the 28. Second down, 9 to go. Double wing set left for Illinois. Johnson under pressure and sacked back at the 20-yard line. That Michigan front four getting stronger seemingly as the day goes on.
And really the inside tackle positions are the ones that are causing the most trouble for the Illinois offense, because they're getting that big push on the inside, and you can see Johnny Johnson doesn't have time or isn't comfortable enough to even set his feet and stand in the pocket and make the throw. He's constantly on the retreat. Great work on the inside, just bull rushes by those defensive tackles, and that is where this game has turned, is in the defensive front of Michigan.
It is third down, Champaign to go. Swing pass out of the backfield to Will Smith. Smith out to the 39-yard line and an Illinois first down. The 5'8" freshman with a nice run that time.
And a nice call by Paul Schudel. You're having trouble blocking their pass rush. Run a quick screen where you invite the pass rush to come. Go ahead and let them come in and then throw it over their head and let your little tailback make one guy miss and pick it upfield. Nice call at the right time for Illinois.
The operative word there being little. He's listed, Will Smith is, at 5'8". If he's 5'8", I'm Manute Bull, okay? Might be closer to about 5'6". Coach Lou Tepper says he's so small you can eat peanuts off of his noggin. Johnny Johnson, 9 of 15 this afternoon for a total of 80 yards. That pickup good for 19. All at the 39-yard line, 13:08 to play in the third period. Johnson with time this time. Downfield, complete at the 22-yard line to Marquise Mosley. And the first big play for Illinois of the afternoon. Charles Woodson on the coverage, making the tackle.
And Mark, what you saw there was that time Illinois, the offensive line, did a great job of giving the block and keeping the pressure off the inside. Watch the post route now. Mosley's going to run right by the zone defender, and it's a perfect throw by Johnny Johnson away from the corner Woodson, who's coming over to make a help on the play. But great protection on the inside allowed Johnson to set his feet and make the strong throw.
And something you mentioned earlier, them having to stretch that defense vertically. Play fake, the waggle, Johnson sacked back at the 32. Number 96, William Carr, hitting like a truck that time.
That play there is not Johnny Johnson's fault. He did his job of avoiding the first guy. Watch on the bootleg. The quarterback has to get his eyes around. Okay, now he sees Rashid coming in there. He eliminates him. But on the backside, William Carr had beat his man on the inside. Johnny Johnson was not expected another white shirt to be there when he beat his one man.
Boy, and that takes them out of field position just a bit, something they can ill afford right now. 12:10 remaining in the third quarter. Second down and 20 for Illinois.
Safety blitz.
Johnson, good escapability, on the run like a fugitive, and sacked back at the 47-yard line. And a fumble. Michigan has the ball. Michigan has the ball. Jason Horn made the hit, and Simmons had the recovery.
Mark, this is just a case of a quarterback trying to make something happen. Now, when he eludes the rush, right now he should throw the ball to his tailback, Will Smith. See him, number 2? He doesn't do it now. He's a little tired. He's trying to take it back across the grain, and Jason Horn is there to make the play and strip the ball out. Johnny Johnson had dump off. He tried to make a big play out of it. It ended up being a big problem for their offense.
Something Paul Schudel, the offensive coordinator, wanted to do this year was lead the conference in plus-minus turnover ratio. Right now, today, they are -4. The run up the middle by the Wolverines. Down to the 36-yard line. That's Biaka Batuka, who has come in here in the second half and late in the second quarter, giving them a spark.
You see that ball hanging out all loose. He almost tripped. He never was able to secure the football again, and a nice heads-up play by Horn, stripping that ball out. And I'll tell you what, I'm impressed with this Michigan defense. They're big, they're strong, and they're very quick getting to the football.
Todd, they have the ball on the 37-yard line. Defense giving the offense good field position throughout the course of the afternoon. Chris Howard is the deep back. Nice play fake. Drives back, overthrows his receiver, almost intercepted that time. He was looking for Toomer. Stargell was back in the end zone, almost had the pick. Stargell, the guy that played a lot last last year as a freshman. Toomer, who last year set a Michigan school record for receiving yardage.
You know, Monty Toomer was the big-name receiver coming in, but really probably the best thing that could happen to him was the game that Mercury Hayes had last week, because now defenses look at Michigan, they say, we can't double Toomer because Hayes will beat us, and so it really probably is going to work out to be a blessing in disguise for Toomer.
And here's a blessing in disguise for Michigan. And that Biakabatuka was able to play today, is able to play. Gained about 2 yards on that one. Tyrone Washington making the tackle from his safety spot.
Strong safety in this defense for Illinois has a little different role than most defenses. He is very involved in the run game all the time, and in this defense he's never asked to cover the deep third or the deep half of the field. He's always on underneath routes or hook routes, so he can be right up there close to the line of scrimmage.
Look at the comparative numbers. Dreisbach and Johnny Johnson. 10:48 remaining in the third quarter. Michigan in control. Biakabatuka. Boy, look at him dance. Look at him go. He's doing the running man, folks. That's the name of it. Touchdown, Michigan. Dwayne Lyle missed a tackle, and Biakabatuka made him pay the ultimate price. A 35-yard scamper to pay dirt. 30-0 for the Wolverines.
Biakabatuka, we talked about how he can run in the red zone. Take a look at him here as he's going to get through here. He's going to make a great move on Tyrone Washington. Watch the cut right here on Kevin Hardy, number 51, and then it's straight to the goal line. As soon as he knows he's got a crease, he goes straight north and south to the goal line. Excellent cut that he made on Kevin Hardy.
Hamilton with the extra point. And Biakabatuka, 10 rushes today, a total of 95 yards. And he's got the hat trick. 3 touchdowns from Longueuil, Quebec. I guess Canada exports more than just wheat and hockey players after all. Well, but I don't think it's worth 31 points.
Now, they've just really stunned Illinois. I think with the big pass plays, the bootleg throwbacks, and the long pass to Mercury Hayes has really stunned this football team.
This is George McDonald. And it doesn't get any easier for Illinois in terms of their opponents after this game. Now look at who's coming up next. They're at Oregon, and the Ducks are tough under the new head coach. Arizona always tough with their defensive unit. Then they have a bye on the 30th, and they'll probably need it at that point, too.
Yeah. Another one on the 21st of October as well. All teams in the Big Ten, I think, getting 2 bye weeks this year. Those are 2 difficult games, as you mentioned, right after this. Oregon and Arizona, 2 great teams from the Pac-10.
We have 10:32 remaining in the third quarter. Michigan leading 31-0, and Johnny Johnson in at quarterback. Holcomb, the only back behind him. Over the middle, complete to Cushing. Cushing with his 2nd reception of the day and a first down for the Fighting Illini at Michigan's 46-yard line.
I think what we're going to see now from Illinois, they've got to stop wasting time. They're going to go right into a 2-minute type offense and just try to go a hurry-up offense, call plays at the line of scrimmage. They've got to put some points on the board quickly here in the third quarter.
Johnson's going to pass again. Incomplete this time. Trying to find Cushing again. That stops the clock with 10:18 remaining in the third quarter. This 31-0 advantage is very uncharacteristic of the last 3 games in the series. The last 3 games decided by a total of just 8 points. And of course, the average, should this final score hold, would go up.
Well, as you mentioned, Lou Tepper went in at halftime, probably feeling pretty good. We're only down 10-0, but before he could even get his headset plugged in, Michigan scored 21 points in the first 4 minutes of the third quarter. So
here's Holcomb, who coughed it up the last time he touched it, bringing it down to the 39-yard line. Steve King in on the tackle. Now 3 yards to go for the first down. It'll be 3rd and 3 to go.
I talked to Greg Madison, the defensive coordinator for Michigan. He said that last couple years, Michigan has lacked some of the enthusiasm, some of the fire on defense, and they really tried to get that back. And I think in the first 2 ball games, he has to be very happy with what he's seeing.
McDonald came from out of bounds and made the reception all the way down to the 9-yard line. Marquise Mosley with a nice reception down to the 9-yard line.
Johnson to Mosley.
Nice job stretching the Michigan defense. 3 wide receiver package in. They stretched the defense both vertically and horizontally that time, and Johnson did a nice job reading it and finding the open man in Mosley on the sideline.
Threw that ball with a lot of authority, too. 9:45 remaining in the third quarter. They need to score. They need to score now. Yesterday. Mosley coming out of the game. Jason Doolin has been conspicuous by his absence today. Extremely silent. He's split to the bottom of your screen, but they run it this time. That's Holcomb, who's brought down at the 9.
Great play by Clarence Thompson there. He really came up hard on the run support. In the Illinois defense, the safeties come up on the run support. In the Michigan defense, the corners are involved in the run support a little more than Illinois. That time, Clarence Thompson, a nice job coming up, making the play on the end of the line of scrimmage.
A lot of focus and attention placed on the Michigan defensive secondary coming into the season and coming into this game, but they have responded big time this afternoon.
What Johnny Johnson can't afford to do now, as you see, having a pretty good drive, he can't afford to have a negative play here. Can't afford to take a sack at this point in the field.
Flag down. Johnson with plenty of time and throws it out of the back of the end zone. Dulick was in the neighborhood, but couldn't get to the ball. Hankins in on the coverage.
I think it's going to be a penalty against Illinois for not being set properly, not having enough men on the line of scrimmage. We'll have to wait and see. I think an illegal formation.
It's against the Illini, and you wonder as you look at Lou Teppert, he had told us that because of some heat-related injuries that they had a tough time getting a lot of their players together, thus disrupting some of the continuity.
Offensively, they've been pretty healthy. Defensively, he said that Monday was actually the first day they had all 11 starters together on the practice field at the same time. Offensively, they've been relatively injury-free through the preseason, but we've seen that the inexperience in their offensive line has been a little bit of a problem today against Michigan.
8:56 remaining in the third quarter. Quick 3-step drop, the fade pattern into the end zone. Incomplete. Dulick couldn't get his feet down. He only needs to get 1 foot in. 1 foot in college, but couldn't get either of them down. Woodson on the coverage.
This is a pretty good throw by Johnny Johnson. He's on the left hash, so it's a long throw. You're thrown to the back pylon of the end zone, and you can see it's over the outstretched hand of Charles Woodson. But the referee right on it. Jason Dulick is a tall receiver. This is a good chance. Take a chance, throw it up, let him make a catch. You can see his right foot came down on the white. Take a look at it one more time. Jason Dulick, good throw, good catch. Just the field not quite wide enough, that's all.
4th down. 3 wideouts in. They're 0 for 1 on 4th down situations today. Complete, but it's short of the first down. Michigan will take over on downs. The Wolverine defense responding once again. This is as convincing a shutout as I've seen in the Big Ten in a while.
Michigan takes over 1st and 10.
The Wolverines take over 1st and 10 from their own 8-yard line. And a look at a dejected and discouraged Johnny Johnson. You know, I'll tell you something about Johnny Johnson. Wednesday after practice, I saw him take the starting offensive unit off to the side of the field, and he really ripped into them. I mean, he jammed them up big time, got in their face, and told the entire unit, you know, if you guys think that Michigan is going to come in here and lie down and roll over for us, you don't know, and you better ask somebody. So far, those words and that warning has proved to be prophetic. This coming on the heels of what Johnny Johnson felt was a very poor practice day for the Illini. And Davis on that carry from Michigan out to the 9-yard line. 2nd down and 9. Tries back to pass. Hayes completed the 22-yard line and a 1st down for Michigan.
I'll tell you what, I think this Scott Dreisbach is really going to be a good football player, a good quarterback for Michigan. And talking to their coaches yesterday, they feel that You know, the guys they've had here the last couple years, Todd Collins was a good quarterback, Elvis Gerback was a good quarterback. Neither one of them had the arm strength or the ability to throw the football that they think Dreisbach has, and he just shows a lot of poise, a lot of confidence in the pocket throwing the football. Now, when you're winning 31-0, it's a little bit easier to throw with some confidence, but he showed it in the fourth quarter also last week.
This is Ed Davis, the senior out of Detroit, who rarely makes mistakes, out to the 37-yard line. Move those chains. Another Michigan first down. Tonight at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Don't miss the second game of our college football doubleheader. Number 12 Miami against UCLA, or number 14 Colorado against number 21 Wisconsin. Got a new head coach in Colorado, Neuheisel, one of the younger coaches in the NCAA. But his talent belies his age. 7:23 remaining in the period. Incomplete. That pass dropped by Hayes. One of the few times you'll see him do that. Patton was right there on the coverage.
Mark, I think the next series, or sometime here in the next series or two, might be a good situation for Lloyd Carr to get Brian Greasy into the football game, his backup quarterback. He didn't want to pull Dreisbach out last week. He didn't want to hurt the kid's confidence. But now, you know, with the game pretty well under control at this point, it might be a good chance to get his backup in the game, let him get some playing time in a regular season game.
Yeah, Michigan leading by 4 touchdowns and a field goal. With less than a quarter and a half to play, that was Davis again on the carry, the tackle made by David James. I can tell you for a fact that there is one lady in the stands here today who we had dinner with last night, who would love to see that young man get into the ball game. That, of course, being Shea Greasy, Brian's mother. Back to pass. His arm was coming forward. And Simeon Rice, who else is in the backfield?
Putting pressure on.
Watch coming from the top of the screen. Simeon Rice, he never slows down. He keeps working. He plays hard every play. He keeps fighting. He keeps scratching. He goes around Big John Runyon. I mean, he's just a credit to the game of football. He really is. His team is down 31-0. He is still working hard, chasing the quarterback down. I mean, he's a great tribute to college football.
Nate DeLong into punt. His own 23. Mosley standing on his own 23 as well. Marquise Mosley going to return this one. Got 2 nice blocks. M&M, Marquise Mosley out to the 47-yard line, getting a slight rise out of the sellout crowd, who hasn't had much for me. Would you please?
Well, I think it's when you block somebody in the back, when you don't have your head in front of the guy you're blocking on. Watch on this punt return. That looks like one to me, but it was not called. Well, maybe, how about this one? No, I don't think that one was called either, so I don't know. Maybe I don't know what a clip is.
6:20 to go. Somebody might have to make a flight. And this is Mosley, who just returned that punt down to the 49-yard line of Michigan. Jason Horn made the tackle that time.
And one.
Look at Horn up front, who had a lower leg problem during the course of the week, but has recovered. Johnny Johnson still in at quarterback. 2nd down and 6. 50 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Nothing doing up the middle between the tackles. That was Holcomb, stopped by Trent Zenkowitz.
No gain.
A look at one of the more beautiful campuses here. One of the best looking campuses that I've ever seen here in the Big Ten. A campus that leads the entire nation, by the way, Todd Blackledge, in fraternities and sororities. And I was jogging through campus last night. They were in a very festive mood.
Start of football season. Yep. It's always a great time on a college campus.
Johnson back to pass. Incomplete and dropped by Fisher. Should have been caught.
Yeah, that was a good throw by Johnny Johnson. Here's a guy that's He's had better days than this, and he's had better games against Michigan. 2 years ago, he threw for over 250 yards and beat him up in the big house. I mean, he's had good football games, and he'll have more good games this season, but this has been a tough day for Johnny Johnson in the opener of 1995.
Yeah, they call him the comeback kid, but boy, they'd have to call him the miracle kid if he can get his team to rebound from a 31-0 deficit here. Toomer calls for the fair catch at the 16-yard line. Larson averaging 42 yards on his punts this afternoon. 5:02 remaining. I'm Mark Jones, along with Todd Blackledge and Dean Blevins in the house here at Memorial Stadium. There's the counter tray. This is Howard out to the 24-yard line. Second down and 4. Game of about 6 on the play. Paul Marshall making the tackle. Dean Blevins, what's up on the field?
Guys, that run by Biaka Batuka a while ago, one of the finest I've seen in a long time. What a name, huh? Take a look at the back. Well, now he turns around. But it's a wonderful look. Here are the names in this game today. For Michigan, Biaka Batuka, 6 syllables. Riemersma, of course. For Illinois, a couple. Schupline. And then this was an all-timer. Ola Alabalagan. We got 6 syllables. What did our producer say the other night about the kicker up at Michigan, Ali Hajashik? Had a brother named Mike. That's a little easier, isn't it?
Buy me a vowel for $2.50, Dean.
Tell you which job I'm glad I don't have is sewing those names on the back of these Michigan jerseys. That's the seamstress, whoever it was who was doing that this year. Those are some tough ones.
Mercy.
How you fit them all? You hope they got big shoulder pads. Illinois, they just said, we're not even going to do that anymore. We're not even going to put names on our jerseys. Lou Tepper said we're going away from that.
Something that's catching on across the nation, too. A lot of the teams going with the generic jerseys, so to say. No names on the back of the jerseys. Following the lead of Penn State. You know something about. Drives back up top, has a man open at the 30-yard line, complete to Toomer. And now, are they waving it off? And they're going to call this one off.
They're waving it off, but I'll tell you what, it's a great job by Amani Toomer finding the football. Watch him adjust. Now, as he runs by the corner, he's looking over his inside shoulder. The ball's thrown to the outside. Watch him turn his body and now catch it over the other shoulder. And as he goes down, does he have control? No, good call by the official. He never really had control as he hit the ground, but still a great adjustment to the football in the air by Amani Toomer.
Took the officials a little while to sort that one out. Justifiably so. On the 27-yard line, second down and 10. Toomer getting a breather on this play. This is Howard. Tiptoeing his way over the 30 out to the 34-yard line. It'll be about 4 yards shy of the first down. Another look at that attempted reception by Toomer and the end of that play.
Watch, you see how he turned his body. He never lost sight of the football, and as he goes to the ground, he wasn't able to completely secure it. I think a pretty good call by the official. Right on there, they conferred a little bit, said he did not secure the catch, but a wonderful effort. And as Scott Dreisbach continues to mature and develop, you know, they're only going to get better up in Ann Arbor because Amani Toomer and Mercury Hayes and Jay Riemersma as a tight end. That you're not going to find a better threesome of receivers anywhere in the country this season.
Amen. 3:13 to play in the third quarter. Nice stick at the 36-yard line that time by the Illinois defense, led by Kevin Hardy, number 51. Dennis Stallings also in on the tackle. Under 3 minutes now to play in the third period. And a reminder tonight, Miami, UCLA, or Colorado against Wisconsin. That's 8 o'clock Eastern time, 7 Central. I'm going to jump on that plane and make it up to Wisconsin and check out Coach Barry Alvarez and his crew. Darrell Bevell, one of the top quarterbacks in the Big Ten.
Another Detmer as a quarterback in college. Floyd Detmer for Colorado making his debut tonight.
Had a chance to watch him play a couple of years ago, and he was really exciting at the time. He's improved since. Marcus Mosley in. Back for the punt. And he'll let it bounce. And Michigan will field this one deep in Illinois territory. I mean, deep. Does it get any worse
I don't
for
think
Illinois
so.
or any better for Michigan?
I don't think so. They've had trouble catching punts all day today, or really judging where the punts were going to come down. That time Mosley just decided to let it bounce, and it took one of those perfect AstroTurf bounces for the punting team.
A 63-yard punt that time by DeLong. And now they're going to take it back to the 10-yard line.
Yeah, they caught a little break. It did actually, I think, pop one of the guys in the shoulder pads that was going down there trying to down the football.
Again, special teams. Something that is the bane of Illinois. Something Lou Tepper wanted to amend and correct this year. 2:12 remaining in the period. Michigan leading 31-0. Johnny Johnson hands it off. That's Holcomb out to the 15-yard line. Rocked there by Rob Sweat. Johnny Johnson last year had a streak of 189 consecutive passes without throwing an interception. Threw one today, though.
You know, we still may see Scott Weaver, the backup quarterback for Illinois, but I think what we're seeing is a similar situation that Michigan had last week, where Lou Tepper is giving his quarterback a chance to play his way out of this and make some plays. Now, whether he has a realistic chance of bringing his team back to win, that's another story. But you want to make sure this kid's confidence is okay through the rest of the season. He's a 3-year starter. He's one of your leaders on your team, and you don't want to put him in a difficult situation now for his confidence by yanking him out too early in the ballgame.
Yeah. Last year, Todd, they did get in a situation where Weaver and Johnson were alternating time quite a bit. There's a look at Weaver on the sidelines. He's a 6'3" junior. 16 of 24 last year in this game against Michigan. Now under a minute to play. Backside pressure. Johnson gets rid of it just in the nick of time. Complete for the first down out to the 24-yard line. And Dean, more quarterback thoughts from you.
Well, you know, Todd, your point is very well taken. I think it's also important to note that even though Johnson may have been a little happy in the pocket and the crowd was disappointed, booing at times, that he didn't get much help up front. That Michigan defensive front just mauled Illinois. And sometimes the quarterback gets too much credit, as we know, and sometimes too much blame.
I hear you, buddy.
Oh, man, folks, I'm surrounded by quarterbacks. I'm outnumbered. I got a pair. Johnson back to pass. On the move, as he has been so often throughout the course of the game. Runs out of bounds with 30 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Joaquin Feazell ran him out of bounds. 31-0. Johnny Johnson out of North Chicago, Illinois, has seen better days.
We talked about the Michigan defense and how well they played up front. They went to a 4-3 defense this year. They had traditionally been a 3-man front defense, but they kind of experimented with the 4-man front last year against Ohio State and then in the bowl game and had some success with it. And I think it's going to be a good defense for Michigan. It plays to their strength. They've got 2 good inside tackles with a lot of strength.
Defense performing well today. Holcomb that time near the first down marker at the 38-39 yard line. King and Hankins making the tackle. 12 seconds to go in the third quarter. Johnny Johnson 5th on the Illinois passing list. Adding to that total today, not by as much as he would have liked, though. And that is the last play of the third period. So far, you can color this day maize and blue. We'll return with more action between Michigan and Illinois after this message and a word from our ABC. 1-0. That is Johnny Johnson, and his team has had a rough go of it this afternoon. That might be the understatement of the day. The Michigan defensive front 4 has done an outstanding job putting pressure on Johnson, keeping him on the move. Dothard with the carry that time, and he moves the sticks. Illinois with first down. One of the other big stories of the afternoon has been special teams.
Tackle made by number 8.
Illinois fumbling a punt, setting up an early Michigan touchdown. And then there was a costly turnover by Illinois. Johnny Johnson throwing an interception. Michigan coming out to begin the second half of play, scoring 2 touchdowns in less than a minute, and Johnson is sacked once again back at the 25-yard line, this time by Glenn Steele.
We've seen the defensive tackles on the inside get the rush, but a great job by Steele. Take a look at the bottom of your screen. Watch the inside move he's going to make on Chris Brown. He fakes upfield. He goes an arm under technique and runs right by him and has a beeline to the quarterback. I mean, it's just, there's nothing you can do as a quarterback when a guy makes that quick of a move on your right tackle. That was just a great upfield move by Glenn Steele.
Boy, I see somebody's Calvin Klein's lying there on the field. Took him right out of his shorts. Here's the flanker screen. That's Mosley to the 26-yard line. And Clarence Thompson is up and limping just a touch. Michigan. I really like Texas A&M. We saw their score right just moments ago. Leland McElroy has to be one of the more exciting players in the nation, not only on kickoff returns, but running the ball this year. They plan to put the ball in his hands about 20 times a game.
Plus the thing, they play great defense down there, and the fact that the Southwest Conference will be in existence no more after this season, all signs are pointing for A&M coming off probation to really make a run for the title.
Johnny Johnson on the move. Incomplete at the 50-yard line. John Saunders back in New York with an update on the purple haze of Washington. John?
All right, Mark, a good one between Arizona State and Washington. 2nd and goal here. Richard Thomas punches this one across to make it 17-15. Damon Heward tried to run in the 2-point conversion. He was stuffed, so it remains 2-point lead Sun Devils.
All right, John, back here, 13-10, remaining a block punt. Michigan got to it. More special teams work. Touchdown, Wolverines. Oh, you talk about room service. Serve it up. Anthony Williams with the block and the recovery. Take a bow, Michigan Wolverine special teams.
Take a look now. Anthony Williams is going to come unblocked from the corner. They weren't even trying for a block, but nobody picked him up, so he went ahead and tried for the block. He got it. Now watch him just steal the ball away from the punter, Larson. Larson is not real aggressive going after the football. Williams is. Touchdown, Michigan.
That one piece of video encapsulates the entire day for both respective teams. Hamilton with the extra point, and it is 38-0, nada. Michigan dominating Illinois. You want special teams?
Ahead of you, so things didn't go too well for your team today, but still a lot that you can get out of this kind of a ball game.
Yeah, Johnson incomplete at the 42-yard line. To put this game, Todd, in even more perspective, this was arguably a bigger game for Illinois. Why? Well, because Michigan is one of the few what people would call huge obstacles in the way on their hopes for a Big Ten title or a share of the title. Illinois does not have to play Penn State this year.
Right.
So a win against Michigan would have been huge for them.
Yeah, they play Ohio State later in the year down in Columbus, but this was, as you mentioned, one of the real obstacles for them, and they were not up for the challenge today. That's all there was to it. Michigan was a much better football team on the field today.
12:15 to play in the 4th quarter. Johnson still in the game, back to pass. Incomplete for Rodney Byrd at the 30-yard line. And we were talking about the obstacles for Illinois. A couple of non-conference games, 3 of them coming up, in fact, followed by a visit to Bloomington. Toomer standing on his own 30-yard line. Let it bounce at the 40. And Michigan will start with the ball on its own 37-yard line. We want to remind you, won its game today against West Virginia. The West Virginia team ranked in the top 25.
Got a little penalty here on Michigan, but see, this is a great opportunity now for Brian Greasy to get in the ball game, get a little experience. I mean, it's one thing doing it in practice. It's one thing going in scrimmages back in Ann Arbor, but to get in the game and actually do it against an opponent.
Yeah, and there are no guarantees that Dreisbach will stay healthy all year, so playing time thus becoming more important for Greasy.
Well, see, I think the hardest job in all of football is the backup quarterback, because you are one play away from ever getting into to being the starting quarterback. If you're a backup linebacker, you can run down on kickoffs, you can come in and give your guy a break, but the backup quarterback really only comes in if things are really bad or if the guy gets hurt. But you've got to be ready to play at the drop of a hat.
And folks, if you're wondering why the fans here were cheering wildly just moments ago, it's because they just announced the results and the final score of that Notre Dame Northwestern game. Williams on the carry that last time, tackled by David James. Defensive coordinator Bob Davie of Notre Dame is under a lot of heat of late. How many times have we seen shots of Lou having some spirited discussions with him over the last year?
It looks like the offense had some problems today, only scoring 15 points. That's, you don't expect that out of Notre Dame. Ron Powell particularly.
Let the good times roll in Chicago today. Greasy completes the pass to number 7, Chris Floyd. And Floyd moves it out to the 33-yard line.
See, this is a great example that Lou Tepper has on tape now to show his young players. Simeon Rice, Kevin Hardy, Antoine Patton, those guys still in the game here in the fourth quarter, down 38-0, playing hard, stopping a team on third down, making them punt again. You can take that and you show it to your young guys and say, hey, some days are going to be better than others, but the key is that you play every game like it's your last and never quit on the field. And that's what he's able to show with his seniors today.
Mosley back deep for this punt at the 25. Trying to pick up a couple of blocks. He has a few. Mosley out to midfield, brought down to the 50-yard line. A nice return. Searching for a few positives on a very negative day for the Fighting Illini. Quarterback for the Fighting Illini. You look at his numbers from a year ago. 4 touchdown passes, a couple of interceptions. Last year against Michigan, he passed for, well, he was 16 of 24 with a couple of touchdown throws. 1st and 10 from midfield. Dulick in motion. Handoff is to Will Smith. And Smith, well, it gets into Dulick's hands. Not sure exactly how it got there, but Jason Dulick ends up finishing off that play.
Pretty good run by Will Smith. He makes a nice cut, bounces it to the outside. He has a little bit of a change of pace that the other backs don't have. The ball pops out, bounces right up into the hands of Jason Dulick. It looked like a flea flicker. It actually was just a fumble recovered by a teammate.
One of the few times this afternoon that the bounces have gone Illinois' way. Once again, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish have lost to Northwestern today. Big surprise. And John Saunders is going to bring us up to date on it right now. John?
Well, Mark, you'll remember last year it was one of Paulus's coming out party against Northwestern. Today it didn't work out that way. That's a 2-point conversion, and he falls down on the play, so the score remains 17-15, and that is the final. Steve Schnur with 2 touchdown passes for Northwestern.
All right, John, you know, it was almost unfair of how much hype and publicity was thrown on Paulus and the pressure that was subsequently put on him as well. Will Smith down to the 22-yard line, about 2 yards shy of the first down. It'll be 3rd and short. Copenhaver with the tackle. Well, tomorrow the PGA's best take game in the final round of the Greater Milwaukee Open, presented by Light Beer. Our leader after 3 rounds, Scott Hope, doing the job. Live coverage begins at 4 Eastern, 3 Central Time, and Pacific here on ABC Sports.
So look at Lloyd Carr, 2-0, off to a pretty good start as a new head coach. And Lou Tepper, he'll have better days this season. He's a fine man. We enjoyed sitting down and spending time with him yesterday.
Here's Weaver on the option, keeps it himself down to the 14-yard line. You were talking about Tepper, a very spiritual man, has the right type of temperament to get his team to bounce back from something like this as well. Keeps in good shape, too. He's running back and forth between the practice pools. Jogs 5 miles every day.
It was interesting, too, in talking to him and asking him, who do you think are the best teams in the Big Ten. He said he thought Michigan had the most talent of any team going in this year. A lot of people thought it was Ohio State. Some people thought it was Penn State. He thought it was Michigan, and he's proving to be a guy who knows what he's talking about today, because this is a good-looking Michigan football team.
Amen. 8 minutes to go and a whistle down on the field. Wolverines call timeout. And don't forget, if time permits, stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report featuring scores and highlights from across the country. Scott Weaver's going to get a chance to talk over. And we'll take a break. The 2-0 in this 1995 campaign. Scott Weaver in a quarterback now for the Fighting Illini. Play fake. Looking into the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Shane Fisher. Nice effort by Weaver, but that's an awful tough throw. He's running for his life, rolling to his left, and tried to throw back to the right. Almost got it there, but tough to get enough on this throw. Watching the back of the end zone, Fisher in good position for the touchdown, but the ball just kept diving to the ground and couldn't come up with the completion. And if time permits, folks, stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report featuring scores and highlights from across the country. And just in case you tuned in, Notre Dame upset today by Northwestern. Purdue defeating West Virginia. We have that Notre Dame-Purdue game for you next week on ABC. Nice pattern run, but incomplete, intended for Jason Doolin in the end zone.
Boy, Scott Weaver had exactly what he wanted. He saw the blitz coming. He audibled at the line of scrimmage. He had man-to-man with his #1 receiver, but he couldn't get the throw there. He audibled here to the throw to the end zone. He knew the pressure was going to come. He knew he was going to get hit. Tried to just put it up in the air and let Doolin make the catch. Just a little bit overthrown. Good read and a good decision, though, by Scott Weaver.
3rd down and 10 now, Todd. 7:49 to play.
Michigan blitzing again.
Over the backside. The flanker screen complete to Fisher. They picked it up nicely. And he is about a yard shy of the first down, or right near the first down marker at the 4.5-yard line. The tackle made by Ernest Sanders.
Certain plays are just inches away from being either good plays or bad plays. This pass was thrown right into the area where the blitzing defensive back came from. It was just a perfect throw at the right time. Watch Weaver. Right as he turns, here's a guy in his face. He throws it right to the area that man vacated, and they come up with a good play. Now it's 4th and just under 1 yard.
Can't think of a time today when Illinois has converted on a 4th down situation. On the option, the pitch, Will Smith. Is he in? The official was knocked down.
I think he scored, but I'm not sure if the official was able to see it or not, because he was looking to see what the guy was coming into his legs. I thought Smith got into the end zone.
And now they're calling it a touchdown.
Yeah, it was a touchdown. I mean, the official was looking out for his own welfare. 4th down, they go to the option. Nice job by Weaver stretching the defense, getting it out at the last minute. Now watch Will Smith. Does he find the pylon? Does he get it to the corner? Yes, he gets the ball clearly over the plane. The referee just had to make a delayed call to make sure all his parts were together, and then he came up and gave the signal.
To check for his wallet. A nice block that time downfield by Jason Dulick on that touchdown. The extra point is good from Shupline, and Illinois, with 6:57 to play in the game, finally gets on the scoreboard. We'll be right back.
A lot of what I do goes on behind the scenes.
Whip this one, onside kick attempt. He's got to go 10, though, and this one will be hard-pressed to go 10 yards. Give it about 7. Well, it's worth the try, I guess. 6:57 to play. And the Wolverines on the verge of improving to 2-0. The Lloyd Carr era starting in a very auspicious manner for the Michigan Wolverines. And don't forget, coming up tonight, Miami, number 12 against number 15 UCLA. And Colorado taking on Wisconsin. That's 8 Eastern, 7 Central here on ABC. And don't forget, hey, we got a new coach down in Miami. A new coach who is coming into a situation, Todd, that is a little bit tenuous right now with that school facing some potential fines and penalties from the NCAA.
It's a tough place to coach. I mean, there's great expectations on the Miami Hurricanes, and I think UCLA, that's going to be a great ball game. UCLA was beat up with injuries last year. They've got a good offensive line. They've got the great running back in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and that's going to be funny saying that all year, but he's a great runner. I think that's going to be a fine football game. Miami, for all their problems, they still have a tremendous amount of talent.
6:27 to play and counting. Brian Greasy at quarterback, his second series. This is the freshman Williams. Now, there's a guy that Fred Jackson, the offensive coordinator for the Wolverines, hopes to get on track during the early part of the season, get him some carries, and get him used to taking some hits and some contact.
Yeah, he's a guy that when the coaches talk about him, they just kind of get a little twinkle in their eye. That's a little, he's got something a little bit special. He's got the great speed. He's out of Detroit at Cass Tech High School, and he's only 178 pounds though, so he's a little light in the sneakers right now. But he, you know, they'll keep him in the weight program. They don't want to lose that speed because he has that extra dimension. I mean, you don't get backs all the time that have the ability to turn the corner and really beat you with pure speed.
The Illinois defense with a nice surge that time up the middle, tackling Chris Howard immediately after getting the ball. 5:23 to play in the ball game as we look at some scores. Teddy Marson's defensive crew has had a tough time this afternoon. Haven't gotten much help from the special teams area. Michigan going to work with a short field on a few occasions today.
You know, I think when you talk about what advantage does a team have that's already played one.
They're going after the punter. Long aiming for the Coppin corner, and he will not get it. So Scott Weaver will take over on the 20-yard line.
43-yard punt.
Florida State just pounding Duke. And as I was talking about,
Pretty good things in the Big East this year. That's a big win for Purdue.
Will Smith in at tailback, Scott Weaver the quarterback. That's George McDonald in motion. Here's Smith out to the 22. We were telling you about our doubleheader next week. Texas Tech and Spike Dykes taking on Penn State #4. Nebraska, Michigan State, Florida State, and Clemson. Starts at 12 noon, and then the second half, Notre Dame upset today against Purdue. Second down and 8. Weaver out of the shotgun. Completes his pass to his tight end, Matt Cushing, over the middle. I like Cushing. He's made some nice catches today.
Well, Illinois had a great tight end last year by the name of Ken Dilger. He was a second-round draft pick of the Indianapolis Colts. He'll start tomorrow for the Indianapolis Colts. He was a great player. Cushing was kind of in his shadows, but he's going to be a good tight end himself. He was more of a blocker last year. This year he's got to take on more of a role as a feature receiver type guy.
And Weaver going underneath again, this time to Martin Jones, complete.
Showed up before the game. They've been standing the whole time. Student ticket sales were up 20%. You guys were excited about the season.
Oh yeah, we were looking forward to it at the time. Can't wait till next game.
Have to be disappointed today?
A little disappointed, but you know, our club's coming around and seeing great things. Simeon Rice, outstanding today.
All right, did you lose your enthusiasm today?
Dean, make sure you get back here safely. You know,
Ward him off with that clipboard if he has to.
That one fan mentioned Simeon Rice as the pass falls incomplete at the 33-yard line. Getting back to Rice, and you know, there are a lot of people that feel that he could become the first defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy. A game like this certainly doesn't do much for his hopes.
Well, he's kind of starting out with a stacked deck against him anyway. I mean, very few defensive players have a legitimate chance, and certainly he didn't have a bad ball game tonight. But when you play defense and a person looks at the scoreboard and sees Michigan beat your team 38-7, you think, well, nobody on defense played well, and it's tough to really feel that the guy had a good game.
3 minutes to play. This pass complete at the 26-yard line. Jones again.
Adrian Taylor, 28, making the tackle. 18-yard pickup. First and 10 Illinois.
Under 3 minutes to play. Weaver out of the shotgun. Into the end zone. Incomplete, intended for the speedster, George McDonald. Stops the clock with 2:53 to play. A frustrating day for the Fighting Illini of Illinois.
You know, you mentioned that Scott Weaver came off the bench against Michigan last year and played pretty well. Threw a couple touchdowns. The only problem is Michigan only scored half this many points when they played last year. It was 19-14 was the final score in that ball game. Coming in down 38-0, a little different.
The second time today that we've seen that infraction called against Illinois. You know, Lou Tepper was telling us that he has the program at the point where he feels comfortable right now. This is Will Smith. You know, Tepper was telling us an interesting story about his situation with the administration. Just how happy he is to be, how pleased he is professionally to be the coach at an institution like Illinois. When he was given a contract, got that contract, turned that baby to the last page and signed it. Had no doubt whatsoever what he wanted to do. No hesitation.
He's completely committed to this program and building it up. He feels like they've had 3 good recruiting years, feels that they can have 2 more that can bring them up to the level of being on the same par with the Michigans and the Ohio States and the Penn States in this conference.
Our genuine Chevrolet most valuable players of the game are that guy, Tim Biakabatuka from Michigan and Simeon Rice of Illinois. In celebrating its 25th year of NC Scholarship, Chevrolet will donate $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund to reward outstanding students for their academic achievements and to assist those in financial need.
Biakabatuka, not a bad day for a guy who wasn't even expected to play all that much. 10 carries, 97 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And as we mentioned, the thing he does as well as anybody I've seen is when you get inside the 25, 20-yard line, he knows how to find the end zone. He just knows how to run down there and make cuts and then get it straight to the end zone. 3 scores on the day today. Simeon Rice, 6 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, including 2 sacks. So a very productive day for Simeon Rice, but a day that kind of goes unnoticed when your team gets beat 38-7.
Coming into this game, he needed 3 sacks. He got 2 today, but he needed 3 to set a new Big Ten sack record. You know, looking at number 97, Super Sim, Superman, some people call him around here. He said that he changed his mind some 150 times about whether to go to the NFL or whether to stay. And his feeling was that, hey, I've never had millions of dollars, so I can't miss something that I've never had. And of course, Mom had a lot to do with his decision too. His mother's an educator and preferred that he would stay. Most of us good guys listen to mother. I don't know about you, Todd. I do.
Of course, he might be thinking right now, if I would have gone, at least after this day, I could have gone in on Monday and picked up a check.
And you know, thinking of what happened to Kijana Carter out of Penn State, now with Cincinnati and now injured, thinking of what happened to him, the risk of injury is so great in football. And you know, it's a good thing that Kijana does have that little bit of, well, not little bit, but a good amount of guaranteed money. Anytime you undergo that kind of surgery, it's always a little bit questionable as to whether you can come back and get back to full speed.
Good hit there by Diallo Anderson. He went out on a, got banged up running down on a punt coverage a couple series ago, but he seems to be okay. Nice hit there on the cross.
This afternoon in Champaign. Michigan leads 38-7. When you look at the turning point in this game, you have to point back to the beginning of the second half, I think, Todd, when Michigan came out and scored 2 touchdowns in less than a minute in the fourth quarter. Weaver scrambling, looking into the end zone. Touchdown, Illinois. Lenny Willis making the catch. Nothing wrong with a little consolation prize at this point.
Nice job by Weaver making a good strong throw on the move. Lenny Willis, a freshman from here in Champaign. His dad is the director of football operations here at the University of Illinois. But watch the good strong arm by Weaver, rolling, throwing back across his body, a perfect strike to Lenny Willis.
And the extra point from Schuppan is good, making it 38-14. Weaver's got to feel pretty good about himself, and it's nice to see Johnson giving him some congratulations, a little bit of love on the side. And Schuppan.
You see this formation, the rule in college football, you have to have at least 4 guys on each side of the ball on any kickoff. So a lot of times when you try an onside kick, you got to at least put 4 guys on the opposite side. That time, I don't know what that was.
Well, the first one only went 7 yards. Yeah. This one went about 17 out of bounds.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was. Kind of the pooch kickoff. Try to recover it in the air.
Let's go to John Saunders back in New York with a Husky update. John?
Mark, a great one in the Pac-10. It was 20-15 Arizona State. Damon Huard back to Rashawn Sheehy, who tosses it to Fred Coleman, who goes in for the touchdown, 30 yards. They go for the 2-point conversion and get it. Washington leads 23-20. Time permitting, we'll take you to the live conclusion of that game. Mark.
Washington by a field goal. Jim Lambright's crew getting back on track after undergoing some.
I like the new lids, too, that Washington sport. And the purple heads are looking pretty good out there.
They got a little bit of flavor on those things, yeah. Pass complete at the 39-yard line. Hey, I like this. Tyrone Butterfield.
3 guys.
Tackled at the 8-yard line. Butterfield reversing field nicely and adding about 20 yards onto the run after the catch. Brought down by Powell. Now, Michigan's pretty deep at that receiver position.
Yeah, Butterfield's another young receiver from Miami, Florida, that they're very high on. Watch the nice job making a catch, and nobody makes a sure tackle. And he says, hey, I'm not going to stop. If nobody's going to bring me down, I'm going to go ahead and try to take this to the end zone.
8-yard line.
Nice job at the end of the play, stopping him from going in. Marwan Powell.
Tyrone Butterfield, who had 1 reception for 9 yards last week. Michigan running it right up the gut. Michigan style, Michigan football. Let me bang on you and see if you can take me on. That was Howard, brought down by Steve Willis. After the conclusion of today's game, stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report featuring scores and highlights from across the country. Less than a minute to play for Lloyd Carr's crew.
So I think Lloyd Carr right now, he doesn't care whether his team scores in this drive or not. I think he wanted to get one good pass play in there for Brian Greasy, let him throw the football, and he was able to do that. I don't think he's trying to pour it on here at all. As you can see, Greasy's going to go to a knee. They're not even going to try to score any more points. Brian Greasy wants to take the team in the end zone, but this is kind of a classy move, I think, by Lloyd Carr.
Yeah, let's clear one thing up. There were some things said at a press conference, a Big Ten media conference back in the summer in August. It didn't come out the right way. Lou Tepper said that he respected Michigan, but he did not fear Michigan. The angle that was played by some media types up in Detroit and in Michigan was that, hey, We don't respect Michigan because of Lloyd Carr. That's not what Lou Tepper meant, and he let his counterpart know it, and you can see the mutual respect right there. Thrifty Car Rental postgame report coming up next. The final score, 38-14. It's all Michigan.
The usual 105,000.